Happy Friday, everyone. For the 31st of July 2026, do a brief recap of BTC over yesterday evening, night, and early morning. So, stacking liquidity in the top, trying to drive for developing monthly value area high. And then we're getting accumulation up here with a lot of resistance with wicks. Now, there was stacking 50% liquidity with tests in the top. So, first one is obviously this large wick trying to test developing monthly value area high. And then you get a 50% test and a reverse. And then you get untouched liquidity from here to this wick, and you get a 50% touch on this wick. So that would be the one that I would take as an entry for a reversal, especially if it's on high volume on New York PM session. So a bit easy to see here. We'll take all of these out because they're a bit harder to see. It feels more like accumulation, though we're getting lower closes. So that's an indication of weakness. So where would I put this for a 1 hour? So you would say you could gradually move it up, and then I would put that as a 1 hour composite. And then wait for the 50% tag of that. So, and there you go. We get the high volume on New York AM session, or pre New York, and then New York PM session coming into Asia. So the middle of the Asia session running up to that 50% again. Full test and close below the 50% of the 1 hour composite, and then you get the reversal. You'd obviously have to check to see if you got on multiple time frames and also on order flow whether it's a reasonable area to put a trade in, because this obviously on the 3 minute this would be a concern, and you're getting volume dying off here and then increasing with the sell-off. How would I set it here on the 1 hour? So with this curve as well, it gives a good indication of resistance. So it's not necessarily a sharp rejection like here or here where you have a clear bearish divergence. There's more especially here is it's like running into a wall. So people are literally trying to hold the price down and then reverse it. So that's the scary thing about putting an order in here. Obviously you position relative to associated risk. So if you have gone 50%, you have that your point of invalidation for a stop loss would be 0.14%. So you would scale in accordingly. If you got closed on the 1 minute below or around the 50% of liquidity, composite liquidity, that's where I take the order and probably put a limit order around here. The problem is this is the issue. So I'd be waiting for volume to drop, because that would be the indication of a of a reversal and more of an apex. You're wanting to kind of see an apex with price mirroring that in a rotation. So yeah, it's not, especially with this price action, it's not as easy to get it. 30-second as well. 30-second is a good one. I found with that 58k low, it gave a very good read on the market, especially with that inverted macro fib hitting the 0.618 at around that 50k mark. So as I said before, I did the macro retracement from, it was the bear low at November 2022 to the high last year in October 2025. And then I used the 0 point would be at the high at 126k, and then the 100% point would be at the 15k, and then the 618 would be at 58k or around there, and it hit it perfectly and then reversed. What was I going to say? The 30-second one is a very good one because you see here, you get high volume here, and then you get low volume but large price movement. You get large price movement, and then you get no volume. You also get the bearish divergence in the top, and then you get a significant reduction in strength on RSI. So that would probably be the area in which I wanted to take the trade, considering you also get churn 30 seconds prior to the massive sell-off. Churn's always one that you have to look at. So churn would indicate people are trying to get in and or out of orders. And it's really a thing where it's indicative of price rotation. I've seen it multiple times, and it gives a very good read. It's a tell prior to movement. So something to keep in mind. What else are we looking at the moment? So currently we're slamming into 4-hour resistance. We'll see how that goes. So where did I put 4-hour resistance here? Here we go. So we're slamming into that at the moment. Not making good headway. So potential rotation again. That being said, 4-hour has got the pivot on here. So I don't know how to go about that. I would say we're still going to go up and test developing monthly value area high. 1 hour is still good with RSI. 30-minute, no tell on that, though we get a pivot on the pre-New York AM session. But my thinking still is getting higher lows. So, and then people are still buying up here at higher prices. So a higher price floor, I would say. So that would be what I was looking. That would be what I would be looking at. Another consideration. So if it doesn't push to developing monthly value area high at the moment, the local downtrend would be the area in which you would want to flip. So obviously it flipped it here with high movement on London, and then And that's what I was talking about with churn as well. So people churning in the bottom on 30 minutes after London open, and then you get rotation back up 30 minutes as well. So we can probably go from here to here, and then I'll probably bring it down to about here because that's untested liquidity, if I can speak correctly. We'll go 30 minutes, and then you get the 50% rule. Whoops. 50% rule with churn, indicative of rotation. You could go up here and put it on that. I would probably wait for completely untested liquidity. See how that interacts with the 50%, and then go from there. It's probably going to be high volume. It is. That would be the candle that I would take as a entry. So the point of invalidation from here to the bottom would be 0.04%, so not a lot, which would make for a good trade if you can get it on that in that area. Not only that, 5-minute close would also be a support level. We'll go to the 3-minute, see what it's looking like too. So high volume, definitely take that. We'll go to the 1-minute, high volume as well. In the bottom, single candle test, 30-second, same as well, high volume. You get the churn indicative of rotation to the other side, and then you get the rally out of the bottom. So that's my read on the market at the moment. We will see what happens. We can do another composite here quickly on the 5-minute. So I'd probably bring it up to about here. Ooh. With untouched. We can do 5-minute. And that's what I'll be looking at. Respecting the 5-minute. Otherwise, we'll have a look here. And that's probably around 50%. Yeah. And then you get that churn for rotation as well, like I've been talking about. So it's high probability that that's the area in which you would want to see tested. I think I talked about composite as well. So composite liquidity is an interesting one. I probably put it on. So the thing I always try and look at with composite liquidity is this. So normally you want to get the lowest wick down, and then you gradually run it back up if price is running up, and then you bring it back down. And it's normally an area, it's normally on a candle that has high movement, and you can either, if it has an equal close, open and close sequentially, you could put it on that, or you can put it on the wick of that candle that kind of penetrates back down into this movement. And ideally that's how I would set it. You can obviously do it on the open and close and wait for penetration as well of the actual area. So you get high volume in there first. But this is normally a good way to adjust it, because you get penetration and testing, but it doesn't want it. And then you get rotation back to the upside. You get penetration here, and then you get a rotation back up. So people are still defending pretty aggressively by buying. And then you get people trying to suppress that rally as well. But the tell is obviously the high volume, so on the 5 minute, and then rotation back down. You get the churn as well, and then you kind of ranging in here with a bit of accumulation, and then you're accumulating high volume through these areas. It's kind of a bit of manipulation, honestly. So it's not an easy one to read. And that's quite early as well. So it's prior to New York PM session. Anyway, but the 50% rule works as well, like I was talking about. But yeah, so my thinking for today would either be a sell-off, testing this localized downtrend, and then getting support, putting in a high low again, which is what we've been doing continuously. So we've got a higher low here, a higher low here, higher low here, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So I would consider it, especially flipping this downtrend, I would consider higher. As I said previously, I think in a video, 2 days ago, the target would be the weekly FEG, and that would be the macro high for the last cycle top at 69K, to put in a macro lower high, and then for reversal and sell off into August. There'll probably be a rally, and then there'll be a reversal halfway through August. We'll see how the Clarity Act gets passed. That's going to be very pivotal, in combination with the AI bubble that's surfacing now is a very big factor. So the utility of AI and how assets, stocks, and everything else have been priced or overpriced, there'll probably be a correction in that market. So that's something to consider, and especially the flow on with tech stocks and manufacturing with high-tech products. It may alleviate some issues with retail demand versus commercial because of the supply drain taken up by data centers. So it's all a factor in the movement of price at the moment. Nasdaq's obviously pulling back. Same with. So we've got that defined downtrend. I think I was talking about this a few weeks ago. Developing yearly value or a high was holding it. Let's go on to the VWAP now, put in a pivot. Here we go. So this is another factor that I was talking about. So it makes sense to have RSI on candles as well as the indicator itself, because sometimes you don't get a good read on it. So take that into account. So we're not getting a lot, nothing crazy there. We may get a rotation back off the rolling VWAP as well. So that's another factor to consider. What else? And then crude, we're getting rotation back up into, or compression underneath developing yearly value area low. So I would expect some movement and then a rotation back up to mean reversion, at least to developing yearly value VWAP. and potential full retracement of the VWAP itself to the value area high. What else? So people are suspecting price may go to 200, or they're wanting it to go to 200, which would be insane. We'll see how that goes. I don't really know, because that's the figures that have been thrown about. So I think there's going to be a concerted effort to manipulate the market if it goes to $200 a barrel. It's 137%. There's definitely invested interest in doing that. Whether that is going to be achieved or not is another story. So yeah, the other factor is potential inflation in Australia, 7% forecasted. Whether it gets there is another story. I wouldn't be surprised if the powers that be want to manipulate certain factors to ensure that happens. But it's something to keep in mind. Obviously, manage your assets correctly, and then compensate for that inflation, because it's not the issue is that it will significantly erode your cash reserves if you have them in your bank accounts. And that is a really big factor in putting it in other assets that are going to fight that inflationary pressure. But that's pretty much it. I think I've got, I'll put SPX up. I can't remember which one I was using, TVC. Oh, I did, yes, TVC. Okay, so it's not on at the moment. I can't get the VWAPs up, which is very annoying. We'll see if we can do it on here. Oh, we can. Okay, so we can do it on there. Don't ask me why. Very stupid. So we've got quarter, and then we've got monthly. So I'll put all those on. No, we don't want that on. And then we'll go 4 hour. So we are still getting a downtrend on SPX as well. What do we have? So previous quarter, VWAP, just holding above it with high volume. So I don't know. This would be the target in my opinion, developing yearly VWAP. Whether there's going to be a correction. I mean, people are still buying higher, so you're getting higher lows. So potential compression. I would want to see, where are we? So I'd probably put it like here. It's going to do it correctly for me. Oh, okay, well, there you go. So from the top to the bottom here, it's pretty much done it, nearly, at a 50% correction. Well, 50% test of that area. So, I don't know, it doesn't seem too bad to me. That would be the area in which I would be wanting a reaction, and you get high volume there. So, there you go, it's quite close. So definitely take a trade off that. And then you get a massive gap as well on the open, which is wild. So it'd be Thursday. So yeah, don't know. You get the churn as well, like I was talking about. So something to consider. All right, well, I've rambled on long enough. I'll have a look at Sol quickly. So at the moment, we've got 4 hour, I believe, if I did that correctly. I didn't even mark it in. I believe that's 4 hour. Yes, it is. We'll do that. We get 4 hour penetration. And then you get daily as well. So it's a bit harder to read on the 4 hour. 1 hour as well. It just looks more like a sweep. And then you're getting accumulation in here. So suppression of price underneath the 200 moving average. So 200 hours moving average. So it's related to the chart itself. And yeah, we'll see how that works out. Maybe it'll flip this and test this downtrend again. May get rotation and you may get compression. Don't know. Or it may flip it and then try and take out liquidity in the top. Something to consider. But yeah. Alright, well that is me done. I hope you guys have a great Friday and a great weekend and a great start to the new month of August in tomorrow. And then good luck for Monday morning. Obviously get up early if you can and get ready for the trades. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm optimistic and I am grateful. And I'm feeling quite confident. So, and I hope that NVIDIA liquidity analysis helped as well, because it was actually quite enlightening. I never had a look at it, but the 50% liquidity strategy works on that as well. So yeah, very interesting. All right, well, I will leave it at that. Have a great weekend and I'll talk to you in the next one.